They have an idea of how to make a great song. I guess they know they're not trying to, you know, make anything experimental or change. You know what I mean? They're doing what they do very, very well. And the lead single "Bad Luck" is an amazing tune. I love it. It's very catchy. It's gorgeous. It has a lot of life to it, and I'm very excited to see what their new album is going to sound like. So definitely be on the lookout for that. What else is there? I guess those are all the albums that I'm anticipating for 2020 so far. But I think that some of the best albums that come out to me every year are the ones I don't expect, that I don't anticipate. Because there's been a few albums that came out in 2019 that I was anticipating that I didn't love so much at all, actually. So the best albums that are going to come out are the ones that are going to hit you by surprise, for the most part. Like Run the Jewels, for example. Again, they dropped Run the Jewels 3 years ago out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And it's one of the most successful projects to this date. Legend has it, I think, just went gold. See? Now, there's a few things that that I hope for the music of 2020. You know, starting with albums. Albums do matter still. Yes, they do. Because you can drop a single, but if you tour, which a lot of artists make their money off of touring now, you can't tour off of one song. You need a lot of songs to play. You know what I mean? People don't necessarily pay for albums anymore, but they pay to see concert tickets. They pay to see people live. So you need a body of work. You do. And, you know, in regards to albums, I think that artists should definitely put out like a cohesive project that's not overblown. Like, we don't need a double album. We don't need double albums. We don't. You know, Vampire Weekend is a great group, but they did not need to put out a double album. Why? Why? To you know, come on. Like Drake, his last album Scorpion was a double album. Why? Why? No, come on. I mean, most people consider Drake's best album to be Take Care, and I would agree with that. You know, it was a tight 15-track album, you know, not including the bonus tracks. You know, a lot of replayable songs on there. And I'm not even the biggest Drake fan. Just a tight, cohesive project. That's all I ask for. It's not that people don't want to listen to albums anymore. They don't want to hear a 22 epic anymore, unless you're Madlib and you're making another Madvillain album or another Quasimodo song album. And most of those projects are like, all the tracks are like a minute, 2 minutes at max. And they're very, very creative tunes. And they kind of float together like a little narrative. If you're not doing that, I don't think albums should be longer than 45 minutes, in my opinion. They should no longer than 10, 12 tracks. Some of the best albums of all time, right? Thriller, 9 songs, I believe. Led Zeppelin 4, 8 songs. I believe Sabbath 4 is like 10 tracks. One of my favorite hip hop albums ever, Jizz's Liquid Swords, 12 songs. Come on, man. The tighter, the more concise your album is, the more replay value it's going to have. You know, the more lasting power it's going to have, and the album's going to probably age well. The more, at least for me, the more likely I'm going to see somebody live if they put out a tight, concise album, because if you're playing the hits or a hit, there's a whole other, you still have like an hour in your set, 45 minutes in your set. You need other songs. You do. Other great ones. So yeah, no more double albums in the 2020s. And we have to be careful about what genres, lack thereof, or whatever, are quote unquote dead. You know? Like, we can't say rock is not dead. Yes, a lot of Yes, rock bands are not the most popular thing right now. They're not. If you play guitar, you're not the number one on all the charts. You're not. It doesn't matter. And the people who say XY genre is dead are fucking ignoramuses. They just want to be programmed something. You know? They're living in the MTV generation. You know, back in the 80s and 90s, you know, the music, how people discovered music, the general public discovered music was through radio or music videos. Today, no sir. No ma'am. We have the whole wide web. The entire internet. That's one aspect of discovering music. Or talking to people. Ask somebody what they listen to. What have you been listening to? More likely, it's going to be someone that you haven't heard of. And this is all genres, not just rock music. You know, like, EDM is not as popular as it once was. Does that mean electronic music as a whole is dead? No, it doesn't. Flume is still out here. Sophie. Kaytranada. They make some of the best electronic music I've heard. If you put them in that box, you know, there's no, even like disco. There's still a lot of disco in a lot of music. Disco is one of the first, get this, forms of electronic dance music. Yeah. Doesn't mean that people are, you know, calling clubs discos or whatever. There's no, you know what I mean? But that kind of music is embedded, you know, in popular music still. Like jazz. There's a whole lot of Kamasi Washington. Irreversible Entanglements. Norija, Reservoir. A lot of great jazz acts. There's no... Just because something is not the most popular doesn't mean it's dead. You know, I love a lot of underground music. You know, a lot of this podcast is about underground music. There's a whole world out there that's outside of the top 40. You know, again, if you want to discover new music, that's another thing. This decade, we need to be clear on the new ways of discovering music. People, if you want to discover new music, guess what? Like I said before, talk to somebody. Ask another fellow music head, what are they listening to? What are you listening to? Go to a concert, stay for the opening act. Yeah. That's a risk because sometimes the opening acts suck. But you know what? Sometimes the headliners suck. I've been to shows where the opening acts were the best acts.